Well, good morning, everyone. It's Tuesday. It's Tuesday, and this week we are looking at the difference in people's lives once they have an encounter with Jesus. And if you have known Jesus for long, you've met many people whose lives are dramatically changed. And I think that is such an encouragement to all of us. So we're looking at transformed lives this week. And today, and by the way, before I get into it a little bit more, I want to remind everyone that this coming Sunday, we're meeting, Saddleback Laguna Woods is meeting in Clubhouse 2. That's the one by the golf course, not Clubhouse 5. But it'll still have services at both 9 and 11, and we'll have our full food there, coffee and a continental breakfast. So I didn't want anyone to get confused. I'll mention it again on Friday. But listen, today we're going to look at not a person whose life was transformed, but a group of people. Because every one of them changed their life dramatically once they met Jesus. And that group of people is going to be the apostles. The apostles. They had the privilege of meeting Jesus personally. As did, yesterday we talked about Paul. But Paul was not one of the original 12 apostles because, as we heard yesterday, he met Jesus on the road to Damascus. But these people got to meet him, and every time that they encountered Jesus, their life is different. And for the better, I, of course, would add. The first one I want to talk about is in Matthew chapter 4 at verse 18. And this is the very beginning of Jesus's ministry here on earth. Approximately 30 years old, and he's walking along. Well, here, let me read it. As Jesus was walking beside the Sea of Galilee, he saw two brothers, Simon, called Peter, and his brother, Andrew. They were casting a net into the lake, for they were fishermen. And Jesus said to them, "Come, follow me, and I will make you fishers of men." Wow. And you understand what Jesus was asking them to do? Stop your profession, the way that you earn a living and support your family, and come and follow me. Who would ever have the nerve to ask such a thing? Jesus did. Jesus did, because he knew they were the right people called of God. But he didn't make them do it, did he? Just like he says to us, come and follow me. Make me Lord of your life. I love this next sentence. This will be our verse for the day. Verse 20 says, At once, they left their nets and followed him. Don't you love that? Don't you love that? The immediate response of Peter and Andrew. They dropped their nets and followed him. What a great pattern. But did it change their life? Was their life transformed? Absolutely, yes. You don't have to be a biblical scholar to just look at their life. And it changed. And they followed him, and for 3 years, they were with Jesus. Can you imagine the privilege that is? Can't you just not wait to talk to them and the other apostles? What was it like to follow Jesus when he was right here on earth? Wow. So not all the apostles do we have a record of how Jesus asked them to be a part of it. But we do for Levi, whose name was changed to Matthew. Luke chapter 5 at verse 27, it says, After this, Jesus went out and saw a tax collector. by the name of Levi, sitting at the tax booth. Follow me. Follow me. Jesus said to him, and Levi got up and left everything and followed him, Jesus. It changed his life, did it not? Once Jesus called Matthew, as he was then known, his life changed. Tax collectors, as I know you know, were not appreciated. They did not have the favor of the Jewish people because, of course, he was taking their money. And they were notoriously not honest people because they were skimming the money before giving it to Rome. Whatever they could collect, they kept over whatever Rome was asking for. So it was a huge, huge change for Levi because he was going to become from a rich person to a non-rich person, just joining, following Jesus around as he taught and healed and did miracles. Wow. Would you trade that for that? I think you would. But Matthew didn't even know that that was going to be happening. Just Jesus's presence and the words about him was enough for Levi to stop what he was doing immediately and follow him. That to me is amazing and a pattern for our life, but transform life. Jesus always makes a difference when you allow him to be a part of your life. You know, these apostles went on, and I jump forward to John after the resurrection. Jesus had died, been crucified, and rose from the dead, and he appeared to many, including the apostles. And in John chapter 20, we're told this. On the evening of that first day of the week, when the disciples were together with the doors locked, Jesus came and stood among them. He said, "Peace be with you." And then he showed them his hands and his side, and the disciples were overjoyed because they knew it was the Lord. A lot of times we talk about Thomas because later on Jesus points out his hands and his side specifically just to Thomas, who wasn't there at the time that this account was. But Jesus showed all the apostles his hands and his side. Evidences he was the risen Jesus. You know what? We're going to get to see those things too one day. Evidently, this is the body that Jesus is going to have these scars on his body as we see him also. But right now, we get their testimony, and what a testimony of changed lives it is, because while Peter is known for, denying Christ 3 times before the rooster crowed, virtually none of them were there at his crucifixion. We just figure they cowered off, or they didn't want to watch it, or whatever it was. But after they had seen the risen Lord and encountered the risen Jesus, their lives were changed again. Because now they also had the Holy Spirit now. And Jesus gave that to them, gave him to them. They end up going all over the world taking the gospel. And as tradition has it, most all of them died for their faith. Several crucified upside down even. Others beheaded. And all of that, they could have saved themselves by denying their faith. None of them did. Why? They had had an encounter with the risen Jesus Christ. We can have our own encounter too. I pray you have, by asking him to be in your life. God bless. We have another great story tomorrow. I hope you don't miss it. See you then.
And I won't worry about tomorrow.